Good day. Happy Friday, everyone. What is going on? This is Eric here in Florida broadcasting, and we have right over here to my left. What do you say, JC? What's up?
Hey man, the J is for you know who it is. Just Jeff at Daiquiri 23. You know, got the baseball, Major League Baseball sign behind me. I'm gonna play Sammy Sosa today.
There you go. We batting 1,000. Batting 1,000.
Yeah, man. But no, happy Friday to everybody. Hopefully we can bring some impactful information today that will make some changes in people's decisions and coming to Panama, meaning in a positive way.
Always doing the positive vibes right here, Panama Crosstalk. So welcome everyone to Panama Crosstalk. And we had left off with some different topics. Today's topic, what do you say? We're gonna get into
what's your why?
What is your why?
Yeah.
That means for people that don't know, what's your why for wanting to relocate in another country? Be it Panama, be it Turkey, be it freaking Thailand, be it Spain, no matter where is it? What is your why? You have to have a big enough why to go through the trials and tribulations that are ahead of you to move. So, Jeff, why don't you kick us off with some of the things you're seeing from people when they come in and some of the reasons?
Well, this when I came over 3 years ago, the why was different because we were still dealing in a different administration in the U.S. And now what I'm seeing now is people's why is that the U.S. has gotten really toxic and they don't feel that they can do it. And then I know my why was that I knew that the United States and the direction they were going in when I came 3 years ago was not going to change in my lifetime. So that was one of my big whys, financially, being able to have a good retirement and live a comfortable life was another why. I'm more healthier over here, just naturally, was another why for me. I'm very comfortable. I'm not looking over my shoulder in terms of if I'm stopped by the police or at a checkpoint. They ain't looking for problems. They're looking to stop people that can cause problems. So the why for me was I love the climate. I love the ability to have the free zone here, the canal, the only one basically currently in the world that you have some uniqueness to Panama. And yeah, it has its ups and downs, but every place do. But our income is somewhat protecting us currently from things that could go wrong. But sometimes it seeps over into, the community that we're building here. And my other why is I want to make sure that we plant a flag of unity in Panama if we're coming from North America. And I said unity. I didn't say segregation. I said unity, us being together, coming from a country that where we know our lifestyle and it crosses barriers. It breaks down barriers instead of putting up walls.
Right. What is your attitude going to be, in the future? I mean, what is it right now? I mean, because we was talking about some of the toxic environments. Some people are bringing all that kind of down to Panama, and it's not working out for them too well. You want to touch on some of that?
Well, me, I'm living on a double-edged sword because
True. Yeah.
Me having a personal life and having a business life, it cuts both ways. I'm not a perfect person, but sometimes, the two get kind of mingled together, and the expectations are okay. Personally, it's easy to judge someone who's doing a lot of things, and it's harder to judge someone who's doing nothing. But I don't shy away from being in the spotlight of people being judgmental or, being judgmental to the point where they don't even have any thing but what they see in front of them to judge. So they don't know Jeff the person. They just know, oh, I see the business that this particular person is in. This was not a dream of mine. So it was just something that came up along the way. And I'm more wanting to help out in the community versus profiting from it. But yeah, there's an investment side of me. But just like what you were saying, uh, what I'm experiencing is the negative and the positive. But what I do know is that going forward, the positive definitely outweighs the negative. There's a different breed of people coming here now with a different expectation of what they're coming for. Um, they're retired, but they're still willing to, ready to live life. They're not coming here to die. They're coming here to continue to live. And I see some people living here as a tourist lifestyle. And then I see some people saying, I'm trying to settle in and not really live a tourist lifestyle. So I'm seeing both sides of it. Uh, and I'm like, I get it. You know, you're coming to enjoy the last chapter of your life, but it's really the beginning of a new book, not the last chapter. So you're starting over. You have an opportunity to start over and cleanse your mind from the toxic environment that we come from, and get that out of your system, because that's not something that you need to come here with. Nobody's here judging you for any other reason other than who you are today, not who you were, but we are being judged for how we are conducting ourselves,
Right.
in all facets. When we go looking for real estate, when we have these expectations of, this price, that price, and our attitude is starting to change how much we pay for things like, the immigration services that we are paying for, the properties that we're leasing or buying. Now those prices have gone up because now we're at risk, because we'll move in a place and 2 months later and move out for several reasons, but that increases those prices. And people are not understanding that even though it may increase it on the surface, you're still able to make the adjustments and say, hey, this is what I'm willing to pay. If you're not willing to accept that on a 12-month term, then I can find some other place, because these places are swamped. Panama is swamped with empty apartments, condos, and properties for sale. So, if your wife is coming here to live in a house, it's not Panama City. It's in the interior of Panama. Interior doesn't mean inside of Panama. That means outside of Panama.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, if you want a house, that's pretty much where they're at. There's some nestled here and there between buildings, but pretty much the main part of the city is high rises, or even 8th floor older apartments in Panama that may or may not have hot water, may or may not have AC in the rooms. I mean, that's the fact of it. So I mean, according to how your lifestyle and what you want to have, you're going to be paying a premium uh, in the city areas. I mean, now you can go outside of the city areas, which is like anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, and you have plenty of neighborhoods all around on the outskirts of Panama City that you want that house living, and you want the 3 bedrooms, yard where you can do your thing. That's available, but you're not going to be within walking distance to certain neighborhoods in the San
There you
Francisco.
go. You just said something there. You said a mouthful. You're going to need a car
Yeah.
or a truck. You're going to need some transportation.
Yeah, so I hear a lot of people saying all the time, "Oh, you can do Ubers and this and that." But I can tell you one thing: with being out in where my brother stays out there in Villa Lucre, sometimes you want that convenience. Instead of waiting on an Uber, you can just hop in a car and run down the store yourself.
Yeah.
All the times I'm running down to Costco or El Cangrejo or something, and you're doing Ubers or you're doing the train. Yes, I use those. I use both of them. But how nice would it be just to hop in? I like my independence. I like to be able to drive, and I enjoy driving. Some people may not be able to handle the city traffic and this or that, but you know what? That's just my game. I blend right on in there and get on my horn the same as they, and then bogart on people and not let them. We can do that, but you have to be prepared to drive like that in a city like this. So if you're coming from a small town area or out in the suburbs or something, and you're not used to traffic, then that's probably going to stress you out a lot. So leave it to someone else and take an Uber or take transit. But the train's available. They go all the way out into the outskirts in the neighborhoods where you can get
Yeah.
on and just and even if you do have a car and you want to drive to where a train's place is and park in the parking lot of a
Yeah.
do that. Do that. But yeah, you're gonna need a car if you want to truly have some independence. I mean, some people are used to not having one. If you live in, Chicago or New York, or you coming from these cities where you've always took metros, then you're gonna love that. You continue to keep doing that. But
Yeah. So let's jump over to the cost. Let's come over to the income. Let's
right,
come over to what your expectations are and what drives prices up and what drives prices to where it's negotiable. When you come over here and used to living in Los Angeles, Dallas, the bigger cities, and you know that you've been paying over $2,000 a month just to rent something. Uh, if you come over here with that particular mentality, yeah, it's available, but it's not necessary. Maybe necessary for how you want to live, but it's not necessary to come and pay that kind of money, especially first landing. I'm not saying Airbnbs is the way to go, but you can get a 3-6 month lease on a property in an area or a building that you like. Um, but at the same time, it's not advisable to come over here looking to pay $3,000 a month because you're used to paying more than that back in the U.S. What's advisable is to give yourself an opportunity to not waste, because as soon as you start wasting, they say you can always go up, but you can't come down. So you have to be careful of that part of it. There's some good places for 1,200, 13, 1,400 a month that gives you all the amenities. But some people come and they're used to living a certain class of life. Yes, but this is a point of our life where we're supposed to be downsizing unless we're creating a place for a large family to come to. But at the same time, that's not recommended when somebody comes here looking to spend that kind of money, because you're only going to be segregated to certain neighborhoods, and that's fine. But if you want to live on a golf course, yeah, you got to pay for that. But you're not going to be in the city of Panama. But if you want to, live amongst where you can just get out and take an Uber or something like that, those places are available too. If you got school age kids, that determines where you're going to want to stay too, because you're going to be putting them in a private school. So there's just a lot of different things that you're going to go through when you're trying to decide, um, what it is that you're trying to achieve.
right. Now, when I started off in the city years ago, I actually did use Airbnb. I did Airbnbs. I stayed in different areas to get to know the city and what the areas had and what they had to offer. And I would do a week to 2 weeks, and then maybe check out another area. And that's how I was able to see which area I preferred in the city. And that's a very easy way. So if you guys want to do that way, that's exactly something that I would recommend, because I actually used Airbnbs to do that, and you have more flexibility to stay shorter term uh, in areas to figure out which areas you like. So definitely check out that avenue for it. But going back to uh, everything that you're going to encounter when you come down here, like we were saying, Jeff, what's people's whys and stuff. That's what we're really talking about here.
Yeah. But again, it's a very good move if you've decided to come to Panama in order to, you know, just start your new life, starting over. And normally it's based on a mindset that you got to have when you come here in, but it's not about standing out either. You just blend. You want to blend in, and we blend in very well here in Panama. So that's one of the pluses that I've noticed here in Panama.
Right, right. Let's see here. Having some technical difficulties.
Oh, that's okay, man. We'll get it together. But what? Let's talk about that Airbnb thing. A lot of people think that Airbnb is a legal thing down here in Panama, and it's really not. It's
No, no.
really not
Yeah, yeah.
a legal thing that is recognized as a business here in Panama. Airbnbs are not legal, uh, but people still use Airbnb. Airbnb, the corporation, still allow people to list their properties on there, even though it's not legal in terms of Panama government. But people are still investing in property for Airbnb investments. But uh, there are some red lines there that you need to be aware of. So if you're going to operate one, you better make sure all your I's are crossed, T's, I's are dotted, T's crossed, and also understanding that you got to be perfect in your Airbnb. No complaints with your tenants or what have you, because if a complaint gets back to the government of Panama, you're the one that's going to have to end up answering to that particular complaint.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I don't know if they did some streamlining. I know with some new investment properties down in Costco, the areas that are getting gentrified, as you
Mhm.
may call it, they're they're supposedly compliant for Airbnb. They're for Airbnb investments. So you definitely want to have an attorney to make sure through the government that they are legal. But a lot of the ones that, like I stayed in, I know one guy. They're not supposed to be legal. I don't know how they end up cracking down, but one of them is not getting complaints on them for sure. Because then, if you have regular tenants and you have your Airbnb and you're constantly getting complaints from tenants that are staying there, that can interrupt your Airbnb and stuff like that. I mean, you have to look into that if that's something that you're looking in for as investments. We're not going to give you any advice on that, but uh, the and that's if it's an old place, then it's not registered to be legal. I know some of the newer developments that are going up are supposedly legal for Airbnb, so you definitely want to check with an attorney on that to make sure that you're in the clear on that, because you don't want to buy a property or be in one that's not. And that's another thing. If even if you're staying in one, you got the ability to go someplace else. Also, if you get any complaints, but you can read reviews on them on the place and see what other people are saying. And if it's a quiet building and there's no issues, then those are the ones that you check into. But you definitely got to do your due diligence. It has to take time, and you have to read some reviews so you understand, so you don't get in there and then start complaining. Well, if all you had to do was read the reviews, and you would have seen all the complaints that maybe that person had, but you just seen it, liked it, and signed up for it. So that's one thing I see a lot of really here is people rushing to do everything, where they're going to stay, what area, and not really doing their research, and then getting in a bad area, and then wanting to get out, and then wanting their money, and thinking, well, back in America, we could ask for a refund and you have to give it. Not in America, so it's
No.
not that simple. So definitely do your research and find out what others are saying about the area. So if it messes with you, if you don't hear loud music all day long every day, that you'll be able to sleep. I mean, there's some places that you may go into one of these apartment slash studio condos that have a rooftop, and you up near the top, and all you hear is music. So you want to definitely check and read some reviews on a place so you make sure you're not in some place like that.
But now, even in my situation, I guess maybe I need to come out and go back in. But even in my situation, there's somebody that comes every weekend below us that basically parties all night long to 6 a.m. in the morning. And they allowed, and they've said in Spanish, I don't care. They just have to deal with it. They just don't understand that I can call the police and let them deal with it, and then they'll have to go and leave and go somewhere else. But I haven't done that. But this is every weekend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they just don't understand that if I wanted to call the police, I could, because I'm the tenant, you're not.
Right, right.
But
Yeah,
everyone that comes and do that Airbnb, they have a party every weekend, where it goes from night till 6 a.m. and every morning.
yeah. I don't know if it's a Fonda or what. There's a place right across the highway uh, from from my brothers that early Saturday morning. You hear the music all the way until late Sunday night. I mean, that's
Yeah,
what they do, and
yeah,
you got a whole neighborhood that they're used to it. I mean, that's what goes on. It don't never stop. It don't stop. So I mean, even in the rain or something, the only time it stopped is when the power went off. You
yeah,
heard everyone, and you heard literally all the people over there. Oh, and then when the power
yeah.
came back on, yeah, and then the party continued. So I mean, that's part of the lifestyle. So if you're coming over and like, I'm gonna, sometimes you're not gonna get any
Yeah.
results if that's you. So I mean, you have to go with the flow with that, and it is what it is. It's Panama.
Let's jump ship real quick, Eric. I want to jump ship because we talked about something before we came on that's very important,
Yeah,
about what you need when you come to Panama, or what you need before you get here. You need to download WhatsApp. That's the number one app used in Panama. You got to download Uber app to make sure that you're able to use and effectively how, and make sure you know how Uber works,
right.
because some people come here and don't even understand. They've never used it before, and now they're here alone and they don't know how to use the Uber app. Do that before you leave the United States. Get your account established before you leave, and that way it's already established. When you get here, you just tie in the Wi-Fi or put a SIM card in your phone, and you keep going. So these are some things that we really needed to talk about before we close out today. Is what do you need before you leave? Get your Uber app downloaded, have somebody sit with you and show you how to work it, how to read it, how to pick your driver based on the size of the car, based on everything that you're going to need. If you got 10 pieces of luggage, you're going to need an extra large SUV to bring your luggage from the airport to where you're going to be. You got to know all these things in advance so that when you get here, you can order the proper vehicle on Uber. We're basically wanting you to succeed. So do this before you leave. A lot of people don't use WhatsApp, but you need it when you get to Panama, because your lawyers operate on WhatsApp. Everybody, when you want to order food, it's WhatsApp. Everything is WhatsApp, WhatsApp, WhatsApp. Whatever you're using in the United States, it's not being used in Panama. So you
Yeah,
got to be prepared for the Panama lifestyle and the things that are being used here, versus coming here and then say, oh, I don't have that. Oh, I don't have this. So especially your payment method when you actually get in an Uber. You don't need to try to set that up here. You need to make sure that's established when you are in the US.
right, right. And one of the ways you can actually do that is set it up while you're in the U.S. Use it. Go on a little trip to down the street, going somewhere. Use it. Know how to use it. You connect it to any debit card. Use it a couple times with WhatsApp. Set it up. Add your friends and family, and start using it over there, wherever country you're in, so you understand how it works. So when you come here, you're not rumbling and fumbling trying to figure it out and having the stress of being in the airport and everything going on. And as far as having cell phone service, you can do Google One, which I wouldn't suggest because I tried them out there and it drops a lot of places. Or just go and you can do eSIMs. There's plenty of companies that you can do eSIMs. If you have a newer phone, activate your service a day before you even get there. Cause sometimes it takes some time. So if you got to activate it the morning you're leaving, it may not kick in for a couple of hours. So I definitely recommend doing it the day before activate it. So when you fly into Panama, your service is activated, and then you can get your Uber, because a lot of times you don't get activated, and you need that cell phone signal to and that data to do a Uber or something like that. There is a couple of spots in the airport that has free Wi-Fi that you can use in emergency purpose. But
But
once you order that Uber and you walk outside that free air, what happened to me one time is I did that, and then I didn't put my login information and on how to access my Airbnb. I didn't have the codes for it because I didn't have any data. So uh, I use my ways of still getting into the building, but make sure you have everything pulled up on your phone and saved before you leave that Wi-Fi zone.
well, not only that is that once you get to the airport, you need to make sure that your carrier is going to allow you some time to get acclimated into Panama before you change over and get that SIM card or eSIM. You got to make sure your carrier is going to allow you so many minutes as soon as you hit the ground, so you can still communicate, so you can still order an Uber. Because once you get outside of that airport, there is no Wi-Fi, or sometime before you even get outside the airport, there is no Wi-Fi. So
Right.
you're trying to order an Uber, you're not going to get it. So those are just things that you need to know. Google Translator, learn how to use Google Translator,
Right.
because most people that you're going to be communicating with is not American. Everybody in Panama is going to translate to you in Spanish if they're from Panama, and you've got to translate that message into English, and you've got to translate your message from English back into Spanish so that you can communicate with them. But you're going to be doing the bulk of the work as far as translation in the beginning, because they're not going to say, "Oh, you're from America, and we're going to send it to you in English." No, that's not how that works. They're going to
Yeah.
send it to you in Spanish. And so you're going to work your tail off translating theirs, reading it, and then you saying yours in English and translating it back into Spanish, and making sure that you're saying it correctly. Make sure your spelling is correct, so you're translating the right message back to them, because Google Translator will change a word on you, and that changes the whole topic of what point you're trying to make. So
Right.
these are just pitfalls that you'll come into, that you need to know coming here. That be prepared, be patient, and verify everything that you type is what message you're trying to say in English, so you can translate properly into Spanish. And Spanish is from Spain, not Panamanian Spanish. So the dialect is different. So they're going to take certain things. It's not going to mean the same thing that your message is trying to get across. So they're sitting up there saying, okay, I don't know why you're asking me this question this way.
And no
So
say.
there's just a lot of different
It's called Castellano. It's a former style of Spanish. So uh, you get that in that region in Panama. Of course, if you know the history of Panama, you know the Spaniards were once had it, and so on and so forth. But yeah, definitely know how to work your translator. There's a conversation piece on Google Translator that you need to be hitting, so then you can go back and forth, but definitely verify what's being said there. And if you can get a SIM card in the airport, they run around $40 to $45. But if you can get in the city, you can get a card for like $5 for and
Yeah.
and a SIM card for way cheaper. So those choices are there for you, but definitely utilize those apps. Have them already preloaded on your phone. Use it. Use a Uber. Learn how to use that, because that's going to be your friend now. Definitely don't recommend grabbing a cab, because the moment you pick up your luggage, after it goes through the last screening, you walk around that corner, you're going to be bombarded by taxi drivers wanting you to go here and there, and then you'll definitely pay a higher premium just to get inside the city. So make sure you can utilize Uber, know how to use it, know how to use your WhatsApp. Let your family know that you're on WhatsApp, so they know how to get hold of you, and make your first trip here enjoyable, opposed to being stressful. And definitely stay long enough so you can get acclimated to the country.
So let me go ahead and try to get this closed out for both of us. I want to make sure that people understand that we have a one source, Panama Welcome One Source, every Thursday, the first Thursday of every month, where they come and they meet and greet the health providers. The different hospital representatives are here. The immigration lawyers here. Real estate agents, licensed agents are here. You know, someone to speak, a professional about schools. If you have school age kids, physical therapists here. We have people that actually have insurance companies that basically have health insurance plans. If you need gap insurance, if you don't have the proper full coverage from the U.S. So that we have that the first Thursday of every month from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Here at DACRI 23, because we want people to know that they need a second opinion about everything they do, especially with their health care. If you got Blue Cross Blue Shield, your military, we have military representation here. We got the VFW here. You got myself here, the military vet, that can talk to you about VA claims and all the other things that you're going to need to know in order to make sure that you can go directly to these sources and get set up so that you're not going to lack in your medication for or your healthcare needs. If you have special needs, you need to be at a certain provider, then that's going to be available here to you. And how you're going to be able to pay them. Do they have a claims department? Do you have to pay up front? There's just a lot of questions that you're going to have that this one source, one stop will provide you. And, you know, VFW and DACRI 23, we are hosting this jointly together because it's all about the community and taking care of us as soon as we land, to make sure they have everything that they need to get comfortable as soon as possible.
And that is a great resource. And that's the first Thursday of every month, free of charge.
Yes. Don't
First
cost you
Thursday.
nothing.
So, guys, you know, schedule your travel around so you could be here during that time. So there's no need to pay for this information. Just come on down there, get the information, have a nice drink, maybe take in a little food, and get some information that's going to assist you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you know, it's a good Thursday. I mean, it's a good Friday. It's Friday this week, and time travels fast down here in Panama.
Right.
So they say when you're having a good time, time travels very quickly, and it does travel very fast down here.
All right, man. So, guys, we look forward to talking with you next week or so. We'll let you know when we will be doing that. But thanks for dropping by and checking out Panama Crosstalk. And I'm Eric, and that's Jeff over there. We will see you on the next episode. Peace and love.
Peace.